The scrap metal recycling industry has always run on hustle, trust, and sharp instincts. This is the podcast for traders and operators who want to get sharper without losing their scrappy edge. I'm Stu Kagan, bringing you insights and stories from the people shaping the future of our industry. This is Born Scrappy. Hey Brett, welcome back to Born Scrappy.
Yeah, man. Thanks for the invite. I always enjoy anytime I get some stew time, you know?
Yeah, we had some good time the other day. So the more time I spend with you, the more I learn and the more excited I get just in general about my future, about your future. You're a super positive person and always looking for opportunities and things like that, which is why this masterclass, which is going to be all about growth and taking those opportunities and investing before the curve. I couldn't have imagined anybody else better than you to have this conversation with, man. So thanks for joining us.
I appreciate that, man. I got a great group of people around me that support me, help me. All the ideas aren't mine, right? But like I've always said, my goal is if you got a good idea, bring it to me. Let's talk through it and see if it fits. If not, then bring me the next one and we'll go from there. So
I think we're going to delve into that, man. I think that's going to really be the basis of the conversation today because, people listening to this are either in a job or are running their own business, family business, maybe started it themselves, but no doubt constantly have an idea of rolling out something different or have an opportunity because somebody brings it to them. Really, the focus is going to be not just in scrap and not just opening up another yard, but when you look at growth, it's about looking at other opportunities and not just, keeping it in a pigeonhole or putting on those blinkers. And so, let's just run through quickly, Brett, if you can give us a reminder, most people already know, but just talk us through the different businesses that you currently are managing.
So we have the scrap business, right? We have 8 physical scrap yards in Idaho and Oregon, a couple auto salvages. We have partners in Oregon that run those. And we have a pipe distribution company, TV Pipe Supply, where we also sell reline products. So we have 3 physical yards, 3 stocking yards. And then we also manage the territories for a couple of different products in the mountain states, Idaho, Oregon, Washington, Nevada, Wyoming, Montana, Utah, Colorado. So that business is a separate business. And we also have the trucking company. So we move our own material with the trucks, but we also do a lot of backhauling. We haul lumber off the coast, rebar. We haul a lot of construction products, flatbed material coming off the coast. And then we have the tire recycling business, which is a separate entity that kind of initially fed off of the scrap side, but it's kind of its own beast now. We have a good property development company, so we build storage facilities. We do projects for other people. We manage our own projects as well. We do a lot. We do a lot, man. We have a converter processing, side of our business, which is kind of tucked into the scrap side. Just in general, we try and keep our plate pretty full. So that's kind of like in a nutshell about kind of what we do.
I was just going to sit there quietly and you could have filled up the 45 minutes, it felt like. You left out the chopping line, which I guess is also a part of the scrap company.
Yeah, we have a wire chopping facility. We know we only chop our wire. We're not like going into the market and buying, truckloads. We basically just chop our own material. Somebody told me sometime down the line, years ago when we very first bought, like, oh, it's a boutique wire chopping line, right? And at first I was kind of like a boutique, like, kind of like a small. And I was like, but as I've got older and kind of understood that where the guy was coming from, like, he's actually right. Like we have 2 copper recovery lines side by side. I bought the other one like 5 years ago during COVID. But the first one we bought in 2011, and And it really was a smaller wire chopping line, but where we concentrate on just buying like commercial business in our area, peddler traffic, and we consolidate all of our material. Um, we're not out in the marketplace trying to compete, on low margin wire. It is a very like, I want to sell the $120 sandals, not the $10 ones, right?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, yeah.
I
Gotcha.
want that like high
Make money.
margin. Yeah, we got a lot of mouths to feed. We got to make money, or else let's go do something different. You know?
But it's interesting because I ran a different model when we were in South Africa. We had the electrical contracts for the whole country and the telecommunication contracts for the whole country. We were doing 25 to 30 shipping containers a month of chops out of the
Yeah.
plant. So
Wow.
it was 500 tons kind of thing a month. It was huge, but the margins were small, man. And you get something wrong and you put the wrong piece in the wrong area, all of a sudden you're making a cobra instead of a clove. And, not number one chops, all of a sudden it's downgraded. It'll affect you, man. I much prefer the game where you're making margin, real margin on every kilogram or every pound that comes through the door.
Yeah. Well, and to your point, man, like I have a lot of respect for like the George Adams of the world that like they go hard in their arena and like they're like
Mm,
dialed in. He knows the scrap business. He's probably forgot more stuff than I actually know about the business, right? But there's just guys like that out there. He's one example that's kind of the most obvious, but there's a lot of guys that are operators out there that are just they know scrap, they know it front to back. They're really good at
mm,
that deal. And from my standpoint, like I've never was ever trying to be the biggest or have the most facilities. I just wanted to be very operationally tight, know what I was good at, and more run boutique type businesses, right? Where like I knew my margin, I knew where I could make money, and I could move the chess pieces around, and then try and find other avenues to grow than maybe like your typical like let's see how many tons we can push through or how many pounds
mm,
we can,
mm.
slam through this thing. So,
And that's kind of where I want to get into in this. Like, I love the diversification, right? You're in tires and obviously cats, a lot of people would do cats anyway. But, the pipes, the transport, the property, right? So the storage, all these things are not necessarily where the scrap guy would look. So let's start with if you had a growth philosophy, because you're a quote guy, like we all know on
yeah,
social media, you love them. If you had one philosophy for your kind of growth, in one sentence, what would it be?
I'm going to send you the picture, but I have it on my wall, right? I really have three quotes, and those ones are kind of like my go-tos. And the biggest one is like when you walk into our conference room, I have it on there. It just says, fuck average, be legendary, right? Like whatever you do, like find your thing and be great at it, right? And legendary doesn't mean you're the biggest. It just means be really good at your niche,
Mm,
find
mm,
something
mm.
and be good at it. And then my other one just says get shit done. Like at the end of the day, if you just wake up and you get things done and you're that type of person, people want to be around you because they know they can count on you. They're like, hey, that guy, if you want something done, go ask that guy. He'll get it done, right? Like
Mm.
he's a get shit done, a GSD. Like those are the people you want to be around. Those are the people you want on your team. Like if you're a GSD individual, like I want you around, right? Because you're gonna make it
For
happen.
sure.
And then my last one is just that The Man in the Arena, by Teddy Roosevelt. If you want to be legendary, if you want to get shit done, like you got to put yourself in the arena, right? So you can't be afraid of what somebody's going to think of you. You can't be afraid to start from zero and try and learn something that you have no idea about. You got to put yourself in the arena. That's probably one of my, you know, character traits that I feel strongly about is I'm not afraid to look stupid. I'm not afraid to try. I'm not afraid to put my money where my mouth is, but that's the only way I know. Like I got to get in the arena somehow. You can either be in the stands or you can be in the game. Like those are your choices. Like I prefer to be in the game, trying playing. Like even if I'm getting my teeth punched in, at least I'm out there, you know, trying to do
100%.
something. So those are kind of
And
my
it's,
three go-tos.
I mean, the arena, we've spoken about this before numerous occasions, but man, in the arena is so important because one of the key things is, and it actually is what holds back a lot of operators, is just being willing to fail, being willing to have the people in the cheap seats make a noise. Oh, here, this guy, what, he thinks this or he's going to do it. Like, ignore all of that and just be that man in the arena. Be the one who's actually out there trying, because, if you don't take your shots, you don't score. And it's just so vital in this whole growth mindset is that you can make as much noise as you want, but if you're not a get shit done guy, literally all you are is making a noise.
Yeah. Like there's a reason why they call it the cheap seats, right? Because anybody can sit in them. Like anybody can sit in those seats. Like it's not hard to sit in that seat and talk shit about somebody who's out there trying, right? It's like the people I love at the gym the most, right? I go to the gym in the morning, are the people in there that are probably 80 pounds overweight, like 100 pounds overweight, because they're at least fucking trying. Like they're in that gym sweating, like they know people are looking at them like, damn, that's a big ass, person. But I like look at them, I'm like, man, like good for you. Like you're in here trying to fix it, right? Like I'll give you all the rope in the world if you're a person that's trying to do something. Those are the people I love the most. It's like you don't have to. You could be over on the couch. You could be sitting there like be a Facebook, Instagram warrior, talking shit to everybody who's out there trying. But you're actually in here like trying to do something. Absolutely. And so those are the people. I don't care about the guy that walks in who's all jacked up and he's been lifting weights for 100 years. Like I care about the person that's like in there, like, okay, this is my year. Like I'm going to get it done. Like those are people like I really appreciate. And I really like excited to see.
And he could have every excuse in the book. Like that's what I love is no excuses. It's just kind of like get out there, get it done. Because I mean, look, I used to compete in CrossFit and I was super fit once upon a time in like a previous life. And often people will say like, hey, so what happened? And I'll go, I've been lazy. I could come up with so many excuses, change countries, have kids now, like got a business. But I actually tell every single one, I'm like, I have just been lazy. Granted, I've just started gym again, so hopefully that all changes.
Well, it's like priorities, right? Like you've shifted some priorities. You've decided like this is right here is more important for now. Like I'm going to move my way back over here when it makes sense, right? Like you're doing things. You're not just sitting around like, but you just shifted your priorities, right? And I think like life is about like trying to manage, like what's important to you at the time, and like what might be important to you this year may not be as important to you next year, right? But it doesn't mean you can't come back to it. It just means like right now, like I'm trying to build a business. I'm trying to spend time with my kids. I'm trying to do this or do that. Like I'll be back. Like,
Exactly. You do a bit of advisory work. We've seen stealth advisory work. I've noticed you help other guys' businesses and that's fantastic. I love that stuff. I love to see other people giving back. And are you seeing the opposite of your philosophy, like out there with operators? Like, yeah, they want to, but unwilling to, or what do you find when you are helping these guys' businesses?
I think everybody wants the advice, right? Like everybody will read 20 self-help books. They'll sign up for 20 different, classes and seminars and webinars. But it's like, it goes back to like just putting your, like just trying. You have to try and implement some of the things that are being told to you, right? Like advice is great. And reading books is great, but if you don't ever implement any of it, if you don't ever try, you don't ever go forward and push into it, then I think that you might as well just be reading a romance novel. I mean, you're not really implementing any of the things that you're trying to figure out. My biggest thing is that I try and help other businesses because there's people that have given back to me. And then I also do some stuff with Chad Ellerbrock on the side, Nick, where we kind of coach small businesses that are in my wheelhouse of stuff I know that I can help them out with. I know I can bring them value on. Like, I don't know anything about the ice cream business. I don't know anything about, own a restaurant. But I know a few things about starting with a small scrapyard and growing it. I know a few things about how to build a tire recycling business. And it's more stuff because I've just walked through that fire, right? So I can really lend you some things that like will shorten up your learning curve. Because then I don't mind charging you some money. Because then it's like, I know you're going to get it back tenfold, right? Where I get kind of like jaded is all these self-help coach people. They want to coach you on anything, everything, as long as you're willing to pay them. But a lot of this shit, they don't really know that much about, right? They're just
100%.
trying to take your money. Like I just have a hard time with that. But I'll just give people advice. They want to call me. Here's my cell phone. Call me if you need something. If there's something I know that I can help you out with, I'll try and
Mm.
give you some knowledge. Because people
I
did
mean,
it for me, so it's the least I could
absolutely.
do. It's like my way of giving back. Like the people that have helped me
Yeah.
over the years when I've like had a question or wanted to do something, it's the least I can do to kind of return the favor for
Mm.
somebody else.
I met a guy in Texas the other day, small scrapyard, and he was paying for like 3 months, and it was going to go on for another year. A full-time consultant, and I met the guy, and I'm like, I'm not sure what he's actually doing for this business. He's never been in scrap before. He has no idea, and I never said anything about it. I was just like, kind of, good luck. You became a client on the platform, and I was like, good luck. And this guy wanted some tips and advice. The consultant was asking me things, so I agree with you. I'm like, if you want somebody to help you, just go to somebody who's done it before, who's actually walked in those shoes. We are a industry that, first of all, is full of people that are willing to help, and second of all, it's niche. It's like we're very different to restaurants and ice cream shops. Get
Yes.
somebody who's walked
Yeah.
in your boots, I guess. But tell me, let's just go back to, you're having to make these sort of decisions. And it's quite easy in hindsight to talk about, well, now I have 12 businesses, different diversification. Take me back to the first time you decided to put real money into something, outside of the scrap business. I know you bought out your partners in the scrap business. That was a huge risk. But more I'm thinking about, like, when you decided to really put money into something, whether it was pipes or property or what was that feeling like?
So I graduated with my undergraduate business degree in '04, and I graduated on a Saturday. I started work on a Monday, and we had our yard here in Caldwell, just a small family owned scrap yard. We had our trucking company. My dad was brokering some freight, and we had a handful of trucks, maybe 10 trucks or something like that, hauling some of our material. And we had a little pipe business that kind of operated out of the scrap yard. And that business might have did, 20, 30 grand, 50 grand annually, top line. It was just kind of like a little add-on piece, right? But we were starting to kind of like, hey, our area is growing, like there's some opportunity here. And my dad, he's always like, hey, like there's a piece of property over there kind of by the freeway. I kind of had my eye on as an old defunct trucking company. We should go take a look at it. And so we ended up buying it, and I remember what we paid for it, a couple hundred grand at the time. But it was like really good freeway exposure. And I was like, we were kind of talking about like, what do you think we want to do here? Because I think we could move our pipe company here. We have good freeway exposure, and let's see if we can kind of drive that business. And so it was like outside of the scrap business. It was on its own, right? We had a manager. We move over there, and another guy, and just two guys. We always called it two guys, a pickup truck, and we had some pipe on the ground, right? And then we went and bought like what for the time for us was a lot of pipe. We went and put like, $100,000 worth of pipe on the ground and like kind of on the fence line so you could see what it was. And that was our first like probably big diversification out of the scrap. And now like we did that, and then I've made some other deals along the line. We put some more money in that business. We grew, we've expanded, we gobbled up some territory, and that business now is a 8-figure business, right? For us, it's a big part of our business.
Right.
But and that was in '05. Um, so 20 years later, right? Like that business has been really good to us. But it was our
Mm.
first like, okay, like let's focus on something else while we're still doing the scrap side and build onto that. And that was our first probably big property slash, outside investment into what we were doing.
Talk me through, like, at the time, it's really helpful you've got your dad to talk it all through with, because if you've got a co-founder or partner, somebody that you're running with, that's great. If you've got your dad who's done it all before as well, helpful. Obviously not in the pipe game where you're looking to diversify to, but could you feel the risk? Were you looking at how do we mitigate the risk? What do we do? What happens if this doesn't work? Or was it just like, hey, gut feel, I'm ready to go? Which is weirdly, that's how I
Yeah.
sometimes used to always operate. Like, how were you
Well,
guys
there's a
operating?
lot of that. Yeah, there's a lot of gut feel. And like I will say this, and I'll never try and spin it any other way other than like my dad, high school education, my mom, high school education, right? Nobody here went to Harvard, right? Like we're just hustlers. Like that's what we are as a family. And that's what I've been always, taught my whole life. But my dad has a really good sense of people. Like that's probably his strong point. And when you don't come from anything, like there's not really a lot of expectation, right? So it's like if like a small win is a for us or for somebody else might be like a big win for us or vice versa, right? So you're not really afraid to try because you're like, what's the worst that could happen? What are you gonna do? Take my fucking birthday away? I'll try, And so we had kind of already built up, the business, like the scrap business. I mean, in '05, if people recall that time, it wasn't like the scrap business was killing it. I mean, '04, '05, it was like okay. It really didn't really ramp into like 6 and
Just the
7 and
fall.
8
Yeah,
got really good,
exactly.
right? So we weren't like just out here crushing it. Like we didn't have so much money we didn't know what to do with. So it was like we were strategic and we had a business. We thought there was an opportunity. And my dad liked the piece of property. He's never been afraid to buy a piece of property. Especially as we've grown. Him and I went through a lot of that over the years. But at the time, we didn't have an excess amount of property, an excess amount of money. But we talked about it, and we were like, I think there's an opportunity here for us, right, to grow our pipe business. And so we just kind of both agreed, like, let's give it a shot. And it wasn't like hey, we did a pro forma. I have accountants like that are really good at that. And like, I don't even budget, right? Like people are like, well, how do you, like, what do you, like, I don't even do a budget at the beginning of the year. Like I'm probably the worst because I'm like, if you could tell me what the price of HMS is going to be and the price of copper
I
and
hear you,
aluminum,
man.
I'll put you together a budget. But if you can't tell me that, like
You're wasting
I'm
my
just
time.
throwing darts at a dartboard anyways. I can take my last year's volume, maybe put 5-10% on it at best, if the market's okay, and take 10% off
Mm,
if the market's shit or 20%. And then reduce
yeah,
the top line down by 20% of 30% if the market's crap. And if it's good, put 30% more on top of it. There you go. Like
man,
so
it's
but
yeah.
it's more just gut feel, right? Like, hey, I'm looking for things and I know we're going to get into this, but I'm looking for things I already have an advantage in. Like I had the pipe business, I had a market. Now, if I can just buy the property and crack the nut on the property, I'm going to win, right? So, like,
Mm,
I'm looking
mm.
for things that I've already got, like maybe a couple of the building blocks already in place, and then I can just, go to locating the next couple blocks
Let,
to round it out.
let's understand the tire business, right? Because you explained the story. You had two guys that wrote up a plan with you, just to remind me if I got this wrong,
Yeah,
and they bailed. They were like, actually, this is not for us. And you kind of
yeah,
sat on that. You had this, it was smoldering. It was like, what are we going to do? Like, am I going to do? And nothing. And you sat on it for like a year or so. All of a sudden,
yeah,
you found some dude on LinkedIn and you were like, this is my guy. And I think he was in the manure business.
yeah. He
Like,
found me. Yeah.
right.
Um, So Josh and Nate, stand-up guys, like really good guys. They're both on the environmental side. Josh was the director for Southern Iowa Solid Waste, which is like a conglomerate of landfills. He understood the waste business really well. I think they run like 8 or 10 landfills or something like that.
Mm,
But it's a county owned, so it's not a privately held company, right? It's owned by
mm,
12 counties or something like that. But long story short, he was the director, and Nate worked for him. Nate's a super smart guy. They understand the waste, and they were actually one of the first people to put gas to um, electricity generation in Idaho. So they were harvesting the methane gas. They still are to this
right.
day and generating electricity, which is now pretty commonplace. But at the time, like they were kind of a pioneer in that. So, anyways,
Mm,
like we were running into like tire issues, and there was a local landfill that kind of went defunct. The three of us, we've been doing business for a few years because we were handling a lot of their tin appliances, shred bills. And I said, man, we should figure out how to do this tire business. I feel like there's like an opportunity here if we can figure out where to go with it and whatever else. It's just if you know tires, you kind of need volume, and then the rest can kind of fall into place. But you really got to have outlets because the volume will show up if you
mm,
have outlets. But
yeah.
long story short, we wrote up the business plan. They looked at a couple of different mobile shredders, and then Josh's wife was from Florida, and so she had taken a job, and she had been kind of helping Josh build his career. And I think he was going to return the favor. Like, okay, if you want to go back to Florida, I'll support you. So he moved. And Nate then became the director. And so Nate's like, man, it's kind of a conflict of interest if I do this. But I'll support you. I think you do a good job. And so I kind of lost my two guys that I thought could really help me put it all together, right? I knew that there was an opportunity there. I just couldn't do it all myself because I had enough other things going on at the time. So I set it aside and I just kind of smoldered on it, right? Like if you ever have you ever lit a big brush pile on fire, like a huge brush pile, and then you put it out and it just sits there and it just smokes and it just stays. You could a week later or 2 weeks later go there, it's just still hot in there, right? And that's always like my smoldering phase. Like I'll get excited and then I'll put it out, and then if I still think there's something, I let it smolder for a while, and then I'm like, and like probably people know me that work on me now enough, they're like, oh, he's still smoking on that thing. Like it's coming. Like I watch you. It's gonna come. He's still on it. So this guy, Craig Hunter, he goes, hey man, I see you on LinkedIn. I'm a local guy. I run this manure recycling business, right? Making compost, sell it to farmers. And I built this business with these partners, and I feel like my partners are kind of trying to screw me. And he goes, could you help me? Like, just look at it. And he goes, you don't know me from Adam, but I know, like, and I was like, yeah, just come in. Like, here's my office. Like, come by. And so he like broke the books out and was like, here, this is what's going on here. This is what's going on there. Yada, yada, yada. And long story short, he's like, I think I'm going to exit the business. And I was like, that's probably like a good idea. Like, because they're going to exit you one way or the other. Like, either it's your choice or theirs, but it looks like there's an exit that's going to happen. It's going to happen. So you might as well try and exit on your terms. And so I was kind of met with him a couple more times. I had Brian, my accountant. I just said, hey, will you help? Like, kind of make sure he's on the right track, help him out. And so we did. And we didn't charge him anything. He seemed like a good guy. It seemed like he was just trying to, figure his way through it. Long story short, I still had that tire thing in the back of my mind, right? And I was like, hey, if this guy can make manure shit like into money, you could probably figure out tires, right? And I was like, and I have like all the building blocks. Like I got the capital, I've got the facilities. I just don't have the guy to run it like every day, like just full speed ahead, like 100% focused. Because if I do it, I'm like, you're going to get 30% of my time here, 10% of my time here. And if you want to start a business really from scratch, like you need a guy or a gal or a team that's just like laser focused, right? Like, and
but that's
I was
really
like,
important. That's really important because like people that are looking for other gigs or like opportunities, if you're not the person who is 100% committed to that side job or side business, how you're diversifying or expanding, you need to rethink the opportunity. You need to, because it actually rolls into your property as well. The property that you were doing, you had a friend of yours that was a banker, right? And he was like, hey, what should we do together? And you're like, well, I've got this business. I've got this idea and it's about the person so much because people think, oh, I have a business. I'll start a property business on the side. But if you don't have somebody who's fully running that, like you said, you're giving 30% of your time, and that's going to fail a lot of the time.
Well, people think that like, well, I've had some success over here. So if I'm involved and I touch it, it's going to turn to gold, like, because I'm really good at what I do, right? But the reality of it is like, that's not the case. Like, especially for me, like I said, I'm a master of nothing, right? Like I'm like a jack of all trades, but I'm not great at any one thing per se. Like, but one thing I feel like I'm pretty good at is I'm good at finding good people that are go-getters, right? Like they're GSDs, like they know how to fucking do things, right? And so that I feel like I haven't perfected it, but I'm getting close. So if I'm thinking about a new business or thinking about doing something, like Craig didn't know anything about tires, like other than what was on his pickup truck, right? Or on his manure spreader. Like, but like he was a hustler and he understood taking a low value item and turning it into something and what that sales pitch looked like, what that hustle looked like what the quantities would need to be, what equipment operations would be required. And so he was a natural salesman, but he also like had that GSD in him where I'm like, okay, like you could be the guy to get this thing off the ground, right?
Mm.
Like, the building blocks are there, but you need someone that can organize them, put them in the right place, and then bring a few more in, and then you got something. But without the guy, the storage and the property development company doesn't get built. The tire
Mm.
recycling company doesn't get built. I'm not the one building it. I'm supplying the capital. I'm supplying the ideas. I'm there to discuss strategy with. Like, I'm there to kind of say, hey, maybe we should look at this. Maybe we should go this way. But at the end of the day, like there's operators running every single one of our business units that are like killers, right? Like that's what they do. Like that's what they are. Like I'm just trying to get obstacles out of
They're kind of like there's a saying in the tech world where they call it founder crazy. It's like they just have to do everything to win, no matter what. It's like non-stop will kill for it. Um, Completely driven. If you find the right person, you give them the opportunity, and if the opportunity makes sense, they'll absolutely crush it. But how do you, and this is probably valuable for a lot of people, how do you then incentivize that person? Are these separate business units? Are they incentivized based on profitability? Because if you get somebody like that, they also want to have a piece of the pie. And that
it. Yeah.
becomes hard for lots of businesses.
Well, I think, and that's because I heard Gary Vee say this one time, like years ago, and I had already kind of been going down this path. He goes, I don't mind if someone has 51% or 40% or whatever, because I know what to do with my percentage, right? And so like I've never been afraid to give equity in a business because I can't physically run all of them all of myself, right? So like I need people with skin in the game. Like every one of our operators that's like running a business unit has literally skin in the game. Like they have ownership, right? Like the tire side, ownership. The property development side, ownership. On the pipe side of our business, ownership. Like I want people to have ownership. Like I don't need to own 100. I prefer not to because then you got other people that are driven right along beside you. Will they care as much if they own 10 and you own 90? I think so. I think like as long as they get a percentage that they get to eat what they kill, by all means, and you're supporting them, I think that there's a big part of that. But in 2015, the market was rough, right? It was a rough go. 16 was really challenging, but 15 was tough. I mean, at the end of 16, I think is when Donald Trump got elected, and then he became president in 17, if I recall. But 15 was a hard year. 16 was tough, and that was when Schnitzer, who was our partner at the time, came to us and said, "Hey, have you ever thought about like us buying you out or you buying us out?" And at the time, I think we had like 4 yards together, right? Like that's what we had. And and I was like, hey, if you guys are interested in buying us out and you guys want to make us a good deal, like let's have the conversation. And I said, but I knew better. They're not trying to buy out 4 or 5 yards in Idaho. I wouldn't have sold it to them. But I was like, hey, if you guys think you guys want this, like come and get it, right? And they're like, well, maybe you guys should just think about what you pay us to buy us out, right? And so long story short, like my dad was already at that point like pretty much retired. Like he was out of it. My mom was still doing some of the books, but I had at the time, I think there was like 5, 6 of us that I called my A team. Like they were the guys. Like each of them, like one guy's HR, Brian's accounting, one guy's on ops. And I didn't really tell them. I just told them like we were kind of going through some things with our partners, blah blah blah. But on the back end, I was negotiating for a year to figure out what the terms were going to be to exit, right? So we kind of came up with the deal. We finally put it all together. We got it in front of Schnitzer, and it took us like a year to get it all done. And when we did, there's a local bar kind of by my house, like this old shitty bar. That's my kind of joint. And so I said, hey, meet me at the bar. It was called Orville Jackson's. It's been there since like 1920. I said, meet me at Orville Jackson's. I want to talk to you guys, right? And for all they knew, I just sold the business, right? And so I sat them down. I think there was like 8 of us, and my parents were there. And I said, "Here's the deal. I sold the business." And they're like, "Huh?" And I was like, "No, I'm just joking with you." I said, we now own 100%, right? Like we own the whole shooting match. And I said, and as of today, I'm going to give you guys 20% of the business. Like I bought it from them, but 20% is you guys. And I said, we'll figure it out, the paperwork. I said, but there's no way I can run this business and grow it the way I want to grow it if I don't have, 6 guys, 5. At the time it was 5. I think now we're like 7, 8. But I said, without you guys, it doesn't matter. But if you guys are here and you guys want to take this ride with me, 20% right now, it's yours. Like, who's in, right? And then it was like, all right, let's go. So I wanted them to have skin in the game. Like, I don't need the whole thing. I need like people that care, like they get to share in the success. And that was the best decision that I made. Like, people are like, oh, you gave up 20% of XYZ amount. I'm like, I don't give a fuck. Like, without them, it doesn't exist anyways. Like, this business doesn't exist. Like, not at the level that it's at today. I could probably keep a 20, 30 person company kind of operating, right? And we could do just fine. But I was like, that's not the vision that I have. Like, I want everybody to be a part of something big, right? And I don't need to be 120 yards, but I want people to like have something that fits with them and that they can like be proud of and they can be a part of. So,
I was once told this very long ago, but you can either have a lot of something small or less of something bigger. And, which one do you prefer? I definitely prefer to have less of something substantially bigger and go on a journey with people instead of just doing it all on my own.
Well, it's like, I would say the best vacations aren't the coolest destinations. It's when you go someplace with a bunch of fun people, right? Like, business is no different. Like, do you want to be the richest guy? You got all the money and you're in a fucking 2-seat Lambo. Like, someday I'm going to let me a Lambo, but that's a whole nother story. But like, it's just you and one other person, or do you, like, I want to be like on the fun bus, the old school yellow with green seats and the whole thing with all my friends going to some shitty bar, but we're having the best time. Like, I don't need to be in, Dubai in a high-end restaurant with 2 people. I want to be like on a fun bus with all my friends, like doing something we all care about. Like, that's the vacation to me, right? Like, that's the whole reason why I'm even doing this every day is we all got to enjoy it, or else why are we doing this? Like, life is too short to just be fucking miserably rich.
Man,
I'm gonna get rich. I'll make money, but I'm not gonna.
We should have known each other in our 20s, man. I tell you what, some of the parties I threw because I just wanted to just like have everybody have fun with me. It's like my 30th birthday, I had close to 1,000 people in a triple story nightclub. Like, I had hired out the whole place. I had DJs coming from around the country. Like, I just wanted to celebrate with everybody. Like, I could have gone and thrown a party for 10 people and done whatever. But like, for me, like, let everybody celebrate together. Everybody have a great time. And it's, like you said, it's no different to work. It's absolutely no different to business. But I need to ask you more questions. So before we run out of time, I want to just make sure we touch on the things that didn't work. Because people will listen and go, oh, yeah, cool. Everybody always, it's like a gambler or a casino, only talk about your wins. Cool. Things have gone wrong for you. You have failed in certain side businesses before. I guess run me through some of them. I know you did an auto salvage company, but I think you still got that. Is that right?
I have it. I bought an auto salvage in a town called Mountain Home, and I thought it was a natural fit. I owned the scrapyard across the street. I was like, okay, they got an auto salvage. I'll buy that, and I'll just turn it into a pick and pull. I'll get the cars, and I just knew it was going to be a winner, right? Long story short, the guy that owned it, this is one of my biggest lessons I've learned. Like, I should have like paid him for a year and kept him around to transition the business. But I thought I knew how to do it. I thought I could just figure it out. And long story short, like, it just never hit. He was a really good operator and he made that business kind of work. And what I was trying to do, I should have left it as a full service. I should have tried to just do that. And I messed that deal up in a big way.
But Brett, did you have somebody on the ground, somebody who's like the killer in that?
Yeah, I didn't have that guy. Like, he was ready to retire, and I should have made it part of the deal for him to stick around and train somebody that we trusted to do that job, right? And so mistake number 1, I didn't negotiate him sticking around. Mistake number 2, I didn't have that guy in place to just run that business and run with it, right? So my two biggest things, like one thing I pride myself on, obviously, is finding good people. Well, I fucked that up. Like I didn't do it, and it cost me, right? Like I was able to transition that into a storage facility, which has been great, but there was a lot of defunct years that it just wasn't good, right? I was buying a lot of cars at one point through this auto auction, a local auto auction, and I was like, man, why don't we buy all these cars? Like, why don't we just start an auto auction? I had the property. I'm like, let's start buying cars and create our own auto auction, right? And that time I feel like I did have a good guy, but I didn't have the business model correct. Like I was buying them and overpaying for the cars to get them to the auction, and I just didn't have the fortitude or the auction business acumen to understand like how to mold that business to be successful. So I really just kind of ran out of capital and motivation to like really figure that out because it was just bleeding. Like it wasn't making money. And I think after a year and like 4 auctions, we were like, that one's scrap. Let's scrap that idea, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, I could go on. Trust me, like I'm a swing and a miss guy as well. Like I mean,
You went the website, you went the buying and selling scrap
my very
website.
first beginning, I had what they call Scrap Connect, right? I bought the URL, and I wasn't a coder. I just knew like there was people that were trying to sell scrap like me, and there's people out there trying to buy scrap. But I was like, well, Craigslist, this is like an '06. So Craigslist was like a really big thing then, right? You remember Craigslist?
Of course,
And
absolutely still around.
it's like, I mean, I think it still exists. I think people still use it for different things, but like it was like the thing for a long time. So I was like, why don't we just create like a Craigslist of scrap? And so I was going through my master's program here when I went to get my master's at night. And part of my thesis was like, hey, I'm going to create this business that supplements and supports my other business by listing things for sale and then allowing other people to like post and list things for sale and just basically make it free. Well, the coding, just because I wasn't a coder, and now AI, you have Claude or
Correct.
Anthropic and use one of their agents, and you could vibe code probably a lot of the stuff that we were trying to code. And I was like, whoa. So I'm paying these guys to build this. And, you know, I'm telling my dad, I'm like, hey, don't worry, I think this is going to work. I got this and figured out. And we had sent out like all these mailers, like, hey, if you had the opportunity to buy and sell scrap, like all these scrapyards and trying to get them to return. And, you know, before like really like prime, you know, internet, like at its peak. But that one was a failure. It just too expensive. I knew scrap, but I didn't know coding, and it just never took off because, as you well know, it's a relationship business. People are looking for relationships or using existing relationships, and I kind of missed that piece of the puzzle. That was an expensive one. That was an expensive lesson for me to learn early in my career.
You told us, but it's good that you learned it early and that you actually learned from it, right? Because a lot of people don't learn from their mistakes. Tell me, what have you said no to in the last few years that either you regret or you're happy you said no to? Have there been, you know, some operators that have bought you things and you were like, nah, don't think this is for me?
You know, I was talking to somebody about this the other day, but I mean, as you well know, like if you're like in your position, you're pretty well known, right? In the industry, people know you. They probably approach you like with all kinds of things. Some of you are like, man, if I had a lot more money, I probably could take that ride.
And time.
Right? Or
and time.
yeah,
money and time.
Time, like money or time or both, it'd be nice. And then there's certain things where you're like, it's like an easy no. But there's the ones that you're like, man, like I had a family friend who had a fuel station, gas station, kind of down the road, and they did bulk fuel. And I really liked that business because I had a trucking company. I was like, man, like if I could make this work, I feel like there's like an opportunity there. But I didn't have the money at the time. I think they wanted more than I had available. It just wasn't going to work. But long story short, I should have found the money. Like I wasn't as well versed in like how to get money, how to get things done at that time, you know. Or else if I'd have had that opportunity today, I would jumped all over it twice on like, you know, like a pig on shit. I would have been
Yeah.
on it. But at the time, I said no, and I regret it. I mean, it would have been the right move for many,
Mm.
many reasons. But so I've said no to stuff that I could kick myself. And I don't really live in regret land. Like I just don't, because if you swing and you miss a lot, it's hard to live in regret land because then you're only worried about all the times that you screwed up. And most people have a hard enough time. Like you could have 10 wins and, you know, 2 losses, and people only think about the 2 losses. They forget about the 10 wins, right? Like I can sometimes get
Yeah.
myself like people like, well, you won on this, you won. I know, but I'm like, those other two, they stuck in me, for whatever reason. And that part of it, I try and like not live in that. Like when I hit a win, I'm like, that's great. Like let's go to the next one. And when I take the L, I'm like, that's great. Like let's go to the next one. Because if you start living in either side of that, you'll get in
Mm.
trouble. So I say no. I mean, I talked to a guy the other day, like I think he had a solid business plan, but the geography for me was on the other side of the US. And I'm just like, man, I just have enough opportunity in my backyard. Like I have to say no, even though I'm like, I think that could be a good idea. I like
Mm.
where you're going. So I'm like, stay on it. Like you don't need me to be successful with that. 'Cause I think you got a good idea. I'm just not going to be the guy to
Mm.
to help go through that fire with you. But it's probably worth going through.
Mm.
It's just not going to be me.
My Lisa, my wife, always says you'll get indigestion from too many opportunities, then run out of opportunities. And
Yeah.
she's so right. Like as soon as we started building up our profile and Buddy, we started releasing Buddy, etc. The amount of different phone calls because they see us now. Obviously, having the combination with Lisa is really helpful because she's that tech person, alongside
Yeah.
the scrap person. The amount of people that call us, I have this tech idea, and she's just like, put the blinkers on, stop chasing the shiny stuff,
It's
like
hard
just focus
though.
on what we focus on.
Yeah. When
Yeah,
you're like an entrepreneur by blood, like,
you wanted everything.
like you're like, man, and you're like, oh, like I could go to a restaurant. I'm like, I feel like there's a way I could make this place more money. And I'd be like, oh, if you did this, like you could do this and do this. And I'm
Man,
like, man, I gotta I gotta go back
you
to
know
work.
what, Brett, dude, we're the same person. When I retire one day and I just want to like give back for free. Like
Yeah.
I'm exactly like you. I'll sit at a restaurant or wherever. I'll be at a sports game, whatever. I'll talk for an hour to my wife about how their customer experience could be better, their marketing's horrific, like what is wrong with these people, it's like our favorite conversation actually. It's like
Yeah.
how
Yeah.
you
It's
would
like
change, how you would work on this business.
business 101, right? Like,
Yeah.
how could I make this business make more money? And not because, like, I'm not even a really super money driven person. Like, I'm a growth driven person. Like, I'm just trying to build cool
Success. Like
things with all my friends. Like
yeah.
if you took that away from me, like the worst day for me, you write me some big check and tell me I can't hang out and I can't show up to work with my dog and hang out with all my friends and like try and think through problems and issues and opportunities and like work like that did that gut me, like it
I'm going
gut
to
me.
be frustrating for a lot of people that know me coming into their businesses and just being hanging out like, hey, have you thought about,
Yeah,
marketing? Maybe we could.
yeah.
Like,
They're like,
nobody
get your
wants to see
ass
that
out of
from me.
here.
Exactly. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So lastly, but before we go, because we're well over time, what are you looking at the moment? Is there anything, you don't have to tell me your next secret tips, but is there a field that you're looking at that's attractive, or you kind of
Oh yeah.
just focus on what you're looking at now? Oh yeah.
No,
Okay. What is it?
I've got something I've been smoldering on for a while now,
Oh
and
yeah.
I don't play chess, right? And checkers but I do play. Like I love this game with my kids. Connect Four,
Yeah, of course.
like where
Yeah.
you like so
Can
like
drop it in for the bit.
it's like an ADD person's chess, right? Like chess takes a long time, and it's like there's just
Yeah.
a lot going on, right? Connect Four is like very basic, but there's enough moves in place. Like the games go quick, right? Like you're either
Yeah.
winning or you're losing. You're either winning, you're losing, and it's not very often do you fill up the whole board, right? It's just piece,
Mm.
piece, 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 piece. Winner, okay, go again. Piece, piece, piece. But in a game like that, like you have to move this piece or get someone to go here so you can go here in order to get this line filled up, right? So in our business, because we do different things, Like I got to move this piece so I can get to this piece. And so I'm kind of in that phase right now. There's a few things I got to like get moved around so that I can get the main piece where I want it. So I'm probably like, I'm in the middle of that right now. And it's on the scrap side. So that's kind of where I'm trying to get a few things moved around. That's a big part of the puzzle for us. We got some big things we're hatching on, like on our property and the development side, that I think could really be a big game changer for us. But I really like being diversified in the fact that, like, I'll never be the biggest of any of them, but what it allows us to do is that it gives us the opportunity when one business is doing really well, then we can use those funds to really, put gas on the other one, right? And vice versa. Because I own the majority of them, right? Like, so I can move it around, and my lifestyle is pretty basic. So I don't need to take home a lot. So I can just move it from one business to the other, especially like in a down market, because that's when you're going to get your best deals, right? As long as your business is not down because your operation is shitty, it's just because that market is depressed, then you can take funds over here from this business that's doing well and go attack that market because it's a tough business environment. So those opportunities come up, right? And then when that thing does kind of shake out in this one over here, this industry is lacking. Like there's years when the scrap business is just, you're basically just trying to keep the bills paid, like let alone make any money. You just want to survive the year. Well, in those years when everybody's just trying to survive, like those are my big growth years. Like those are the years when I take funds from here and move them here to be able to really find the right deal. And I can't do that if A, my lifestyle gets out of whack, or B, if this one isn't operationally strong and it can't support this one, or vice versa. So I'm just kind of moving a few things around right now to get it positioned for the next one that I might, but my CFO keeps looking at me like, "Are you sure? Are you sure about that?" I'm like, "Well, I think it's gonna work. We'll see."
Two things I
But
want to say to close out. One is that strategy is phenomenal. It makes so much sense because in a downturn, and business in general is cyclical, so all business. So in a
yeah,
downturn, if you have capital and you have other places to bring in funds, you have the opportunity to buy businesses, hire people, buy cheaper equipment, whatever you need to do to take advantage. So that's brilliant. The other thing I'm going to say is I expect you're going to have a lot of equipment suppliers phoning you over the next few weeks because this next plan that you've got, I'm sure, takes a bit of equipment.
it
And
does. It does.
I know
Yes,
they
it
listen
does.
to this, so everybody's going to be your best friend.
It'll be capital intense, right? But
I'm sure,
you're a go big or go home person, right?
for
Like
sure.
we're here to play the game, right? Like the only reason people know the guy that made the winning shot is because he had the nuts to take it. Like
Absolutely. BMT,
if
man.
you don't have the
That's
nuts
it.
to take the shot, then you'll never hit a game winner. Like you have the ability to. Most people do. They don't have the guts to take the
Balls.
shot.
I don't have
And
balls of
it's
steel, if you will.
Yeah, your new book, right? Yeah.
Exactly. Balls of
Tell me
steel,
about your
man. That's
book.
what it's all about.
Can you send me? Are you gonna send me a copy or what?
I'll send you a copy. I'll send you a copy. It's not a life story. I'm way too young for that. It's from stories of people that I've spoken to over the last
Yeah, yeah,
however
yeah.
many years, and just hopefully for the next generation and for his scrap guys to read through. And what's cool about it is you can literally open it because we've all got ADHD. You can open it
Yeah,
at any chapter and just read a lesson on it. And it's like
yeah.
somebody's story about some lesson that they had or some mistake that they've made. And that's literally how it's written. So
Yeah.
it'll be fun. I'll send it to you. We're still waiting
Please
for
do,
your book to
man.
come out as well.
I know. I got it done. I'm just going through like the last edits. I gotta just
So
finish
that takes the
like
longest. That takes the
it's
longest.
so
It's
miserable
like,
because I'm not a detail person. Like I'm not good at
uh,
details. So I surround myself with detail oriented people, right? Like my wife
yeah.
is like, ding, 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 ding.
Mm,
She's the queen. There's a reason why the queen makes moves the kings can't, right? Like in my
exactly.
house, like that's the truth. Um,
Yeah.
but she's details. Like I need that in my life because I'm like big picture. Like, okay, like this is how we're gonna get to here. This is how we're gonna do this, and like
the writing of the book and all that was the easy part for me because I have the stories and I wanted to get it out. So it was like spending nights, months and months of just writing down, oh my God, that will make a great story. Writing it out, making it sound better, and then hand it over. And it's like, oh, but how many words per page? And what sort of ink do you want to use? I'm like, I don't really care. Is it legible? Like, can people read it? Like, that's all I really care about.
I wrote mine for my kids, right? Like my book, I wrote it for my kids with my kids in mind. 365 lessons, right? One a day, pick whichever one, read this one twice. I don't care. Cool. Read it over 4 years. It doesn't really matter to me. If I die tomorrow, I want like my kids to have something that's like, this is what your dad thought. And because I love quotes. And so it's 365 quotes, like, and here's the thought behind it. Just like I do on my LinkedIn posts. Like, I do those for me. I do those for anybody that might need it that day. But really, it's just me in the morning with my coffee, talking to myself, like, but putting it on paper. Like, just sometimes you have to remind yourself certain things, like to be grateful. Like this morning was, living in the USA and like how really good we have it. You get tired of hearing people complain about it, right? And it's like, sometimes I just like need to get that off my chest, or, like my dad will call me and be like, hey, did you have something going on with one of your employees today or whatever? Because he'll read my post, I'm like, oh yeah, like this is what happened. I'll tell him the story, right? But like, I love writing those because it's like my 30 to 45 minutes with my coffee, just like, there it is for the day. All right, let's go. Let's go get something done.
Two things. One is I saw your post this morning, and as somebody who's only been in America for 1 year, I liked it, and I was going to do a long comment, and I didn't, but because I just was worried how people were going to take it as somebody who's new to the country. But I'm like, dude, I so agree with you. But we can't go into this now because this is another whole podcast. But I've told you this before in person. Like, I couldn't agree with you more. Like how good this place is, people don't know. And the other thing I wanted to say is I think you and I could be the only people on LinkedIn that still write our own posts.
Yeah. Well, and every time I read like some AI written stuff, like I'm like, man, come on now. But I also like think that like that's what works for me. Like if that's not what works for you, then like do what works for you. But like if you read my shit, people are like, well, who does this and who does? I'm like, if it comes from my account, like that's me sitting down, like writing about something. It's a quote I've heard. Like, I'm not making these quotes up. Like I find them on the internet, like shit that comes across my feed because that's what I like, right? So it's like I just take the quote, I kind of put my own thoughts around it, and then I send it out. Like and I save them in my phone. Like I like that one. I'll come back to that one. I heard the best one the other day. I'm gonna leave you with this. So I know you got to get. But you see it come from my account, you're gonna know. You're like, oh, he said that was gonna happen. And I told it to my buddy Chad the other day, and it said the receipts for love are grief and anxiety, right? So this guy was talking about the passing of his mom, and he's like, but like when you love something and when you feel something, like it's okay to be sad, right? And it's okay when you feel that and live in that, right? Like. When you're happy and you're grateful, like live in that, because that's the cost of doing business, right? The only reason you're sad is because there was something along the line that you really cared about, and you just got to go find the next thing to care about. And but it's the cost of doing business. It's a cost of doing business.
I saw the video. I actually remember it. I remember stopping and being like, "Shit, that's seriously powerful." But we got to go. We're well over time, so wrap this shit up. Brett, dude, so awesome having you on the show again.
Always good talking to you. Man. I appreciate the opportunity, man. Take care.
Thank you, bro. Bye. That's it for this episode of Born Scrappy. If you have any questions, stories, or topics you want us to dig into, send them my way. Until then, keep it scrappy.